Hi all, I'm Toschi.
I'm Vasa.
And we are here to talk about EthOS. So we started our R&D to figure it out how to make Ethereum better in terms of decentralization, I mean in the DApp layer. So to basically build startups without founders and also dApps that don't need to trust a well-known team or some Twitter's influencer, etc. And at the end of the day, to reach our goal, we developed an operating system to build on Ethereum. And EthOS, basically, so this operating system, is based on the factory, which is its core. So most of the code, you don't code a contract since the beginning, but you clone most of the code from different factory that other people can create. And also, we have organization, which is the base layer to build applications. And also we have covenants, which are all of the integration for the DeFi, basically for any kind of organization. And items, which is a new token standard that act both as ERC20 and 1155. So it's totally interoperable, and you can also use new capabilities into the existing DeFi, like batch transfer or using metadata. So don't rely anymore to data you have on, I don't know, CoinGecko or lists of tokens, so all of these things. And they are pretty secure because they start by factories and you can extend their logic, but the main transfer functions are the same, and so you're secure that people don't create tokens that can be hacked or with some weird stuff inside. The core of this operating system is based on the idea to start in code on Ethereum, no more by having standards and write the whole contract since the beginning, but to use different factories from anything basically, and to just clone the basic part from the factories and extend the logic for the new application you are building.
It all started when we created Swiss Knife, which is a library containing some smart contract stubs you can use in your applications, like factories. Factories have a model, which is a pre-deployed smart contracts that is cloned every time someone calls the deploy method using some low-level Solidity assembly code. And every time a new model is cloned, the lazy init method can be called on it, because every model must be a lazy init capable element that can be used to initialize it. And of course, lazy init capable elements can have an optional host that can be used, for example, to edit some information like metadata and URIs linked on them.
And looking into what we built on top, because we have this release in October that we release for example, the marketplace for factories, which would be very cool because you can also build businesses on top of building factory for other, it takes some fees. Let's start with organization. For us, organization are not like DAOs or these things, but are the basic layer to build on Ethereum. So it's kind of like the GitHub that you start, you have your permission model, and so you can build on-chain an organization. So organization totally ruled by Mets, basically, because you don't need to trust to anyone. Legal organization, and also use it as your GitHub repo with permission with your co-host, and so on and so forth. But before to understand why, let's start from the beginning. So when we deployed the 0.3, which is the first version of organization, we had this idea to create a permission system based on tokens into the first version, where you can vote to run code and you can run any kind of code on it. And this is what now we call the root layer of an organization. And we started working on this after. So how can people really can use this technology, adding new level of security and to solve the efficiency of, for example, governments, the security, because obviously voting for general person into something that they can execute any kind of code is obviously not so secure, and the democratic layer. and we built what is organization 0.5. So the granularity is the key. And so with the 0.5, which we'll be releasing in October, you can build sub-DAOs, which is another level that only have one specific function that can change. And so everyone can vote on this and change these specific things without broke the application, for example. And you have the permission architecture granularity. So you can have both the root layer and both the sub-DAO layer with different permissions. So host only, so the team, for example, or more teams, so well-known wallets, basically, and host plus holder, so an agreement from holder of one or more tokens and the hosts, and holders only, so with a specific token or more token into a governance system with its rules.
The factory approach is extremely powerful, and we use it a lot in our projects. For example, in Covenants, we created the AMM aggregator, which is a high-level API that lets you communicate with every kind of supported AMM. So you have high-level APIs that let you save a lot of code because you are able to create any kind of logic and without writing the code for the specific AMM. And this can be extremely powerful. For example, we built WSD, which is a stable coin based on several AMMs having liquidity inside, or farming contracts that you can use and create your own farming contracts with your own liquidity pools using the AMM aggregator to save space and time.
Imagine how people didn't lose their money if everyone used Covenants instead of building their own farming contract from the beginning and be hacked most of the time. And the RapidUSD is kind of like one of the only stable coins we've never been hacked, by the way, but go forward. There is items.
Items is another cool stuff because it is the first interoperable token having two souls, the ERC1155 and the ERC21. ERC1155 is a singleton, common for every item you can create. ERC20 is specific for each item. This is extremely powerful because you can use both sides at the same time for different applications. So the way you can use it is extremely vast and extremely powerful. And it is also extremely easy to use and to understand because every time you create an item, of course, an item ID will be generated, and you can use this item ID to query all the stuff in the ERC1155 side, for example, to ask for the balance or several accounts together with the balance of batch method. And of course, you can also ask for the interoperable interface of the single item, which is the ERC21. And if you check the balance of the same accounts on the ERC20 side, they will be always the same because the storage containing the data is just one. And so because they share them, and so it is extremely awesome.
Yeah, and also in October we are releasing item v2, which is something we call dynamic metadata. So finally, people can build dynamic metadata on chain. And so, for example, you can have an application where you can craft by the chain an object into a game to another, like a bronze sword to a cool fire sword, or even having a standard on-chain metadata, and so the objects are interoperable between different games, and so you can have this rendering into their graphics and use the same object with different game, which is, I think, the future of this. And also you can batch every existing items, or you can wrap existing object on top of Ethereum and batch with this technology. So it's pretty cool at the end of the day. So this is EthOS, an operating system to build on top of Ethereum, and everything is ruled by the OS token, which is the first token of the first granular on-chain governance and the first item v2. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
And see everything at ethos.eth.link.